Yeah, what's going on, party people? The place to be. I go by the name of the BK Apologist, coming all the way live. New York is the city. Brooklyn is the borough. What's good? What's poppin'? Hope everybody's doing good today. And as always, please like, share, and subscribe. You know what I mean? I hope everybody's doing good on this Tuesday evening. We're gonna start right away with the shameless plug, right? Make sure you guys tuned in May 25th, which is a Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be having one of the top scholars in the field, Dr. Michael Heiser, and we'll be having a discussion on the unseen realm of apologetics. We're going to combine two of our favorite topics, and we're going to really see how, what are the spiritual reverberations and ramifications of defending the faith. 'Cause a lot of times when we defend the faith, we think simply on the physical plane, but is there other things occurring when you are defending your faith? And that's something I'm going to bring up to the good doctor and get his view on that, amongst a couple other things too. So hope everybody had a good May 4th. May the 4th be with you. To all my Star Wars nerds, I hope you guys had fun and you watched the Clone Wars, the final episode and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? So this is interesting. All right. Oh, you're funny. Don't get the script. We got Carmel Crunk in the building. What up, Carmel? What's going on? Got my man. Good evening, sir. It's always a pleasure to have the party people in the place. Because we got homegirl straight out of Queens, right? I got that right? It's Queens. Of course, we got Mr. Phil Fox holding me down with the wrench, making sure nothing crazy happens over here. And shout out to the rest of the wrench mafia, first line of defense. You know what I mean? So this is pretty cool. So today, what we're gonna do, let me turn off the shameless banners real quick. So what we're going to do today is talk about proof of life, people in the Bible confirmed. Now, you're probably wondering why I touched upon this particular subject. Well, it all started from this particular meme. And I'm sure it's a meme that we've all seen before. And it says, ever wondered why there are no characters from the Bible, Torah, or Quran in museums? It's because museums only display facts, not fictions or fantasies. Ha, ha, ha. Right? And they say, look, no Jesus here, no Muhammad there, no, right? So it's an old meme. I'm sure it's been circulating the internet for a long time. But it did inspire me. I say, well, is this true? Is what the claim of this meme correct? Are there no biblical characters referenced in museums? Is there any proof that these quote unquote characters actually existed? So, in the words of Loaded Lux, let's get to chopping this fable, because you're going to see that it's quite a few quote unquote characters that are from the Bible that are in museums. So let's get to it. First off, we got Hazael, king of Aram at Damascus. He's mentioned in 1 Kings 19:15, 2 Kings 8:8, 2 Kings 13:3, etc., etc. In the Aleppo era, Zakar Stele, line 4, which refers to Ba-Hadad, the son of Hazael, the king of Aram. The interpretation of the Zakar Stele, dated to circa 780, is according to several inscriptions of Salamander III, king of Assyria, which refers to Hazael, quote, son of nobody, as a successor, not necessarily the immediate successor of Hadazar to the throne of Damascus. Singularity arises partly from the fact there was only one king on Damascus' throne at a given time. The point of singularity in common between Zakar Stele and the biblical text is that both refer to only one Hazael, king of Aram at Damascus and father of Ba-Hadad. And of course, where do we find this great artifact? It is at the Louvre in Paris. This is in the museum this is a person mentioned in the Bible. This is an artifact talking about that person. There's Jeroboam II, king of Israel. He's mentioned in 2 Kings 13:13. In the Iconostone seal discovered in Megiddo, the seals in Boule, the title signifies that the master of Ebed is a monarch or a deity. In this Hebrew seal from a royal administrative complex of Megiddo, Jeroboam is a king of the northern kingdom of Israel from the 9th century onward. There's only one Jeroboam in the biblical king list, which purports to be complete. An idea of this 10th century namesake, Jeroboam, seems most unlikely in this seal for two reasons. First, according to the discoveries currently known to epigraphers during the 9th century, earlier Israelite, Aramaic, Phoenician epigraphic seals in Boule are either rare or possibly not existent. Second, it's an 8th century seal. Ambiguities and stratigraphic dating are resolved by paleographic considerations, especially regarding the two Mims, which date to the 8th century. And we find this seal of this character that's in the Bible. It was first located in the Archaeological Museum of Istanbul, but now it's relocated to the Rockefeller Museum in Jerusalem, right? These are artifacts of biblical characters in museums. Let's keep it going. We got King Nebuchadnezzar, right? We're very familiar with this dude because of the prophet Daniel. His building program at Babylon used 15 million baked bricks. Thousands bore his name and title stamped into the clay. Nebuchadnezzar, the eldest son of Nabopolassar, king of Babylon, am I. On this brick, a workman wrote his own name, Zabbaina, using the Aramaic alphabet from Babylon, southern Mesopotamia, Iraq, Neo-Babylonian period, reign of Nebuchadnezzar II. And you find this at the British Museum, London. You have an actual brick that was used to build different edifices in Babylon during the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar, with the king's actual insignia stamped in the brick. That's amazing. That's amazing, right? And we find this in the British Museum, a actual brick with the king's signature stamped in it. Okay, so much for no characters mentioned in museums, right? But let's continue, because you know me, I like to drill down completely, right? Well, as much as I can. So you got Sargon II, king of Assyria. He's mentioned in Isaiah 20, verse 1. A complete commemorative inscription in Sumerian language is engraved on this brick in 5 lines. It originates from the royal palace of Sargon II at Khordesbad and celebrates the construction of the city of the palace itself. Quote, Sargon, king of the universe, built this city. I mean, that kind of, right? It's me, yo. This is me, right? It's no different than, back in the days, the graffiti writers, I want to make sure that you knew I was here, right? It is a name within, he had this unrivaled palace built. And you find this artifact of this person who's mentioned in the Bible in the Gregorian Egyptian Museum. Keep it going. Right, we got, not only do we have Uzziah, we also have Shebaniah, the servant of Uzziah. Uzziah, king of Judah, and 2 iconostone seals, the first of which inscribed belonging to Abiah, minister of Uzziah, and the second of which is inscribed belonging to Shebaniah, minister of Uzziah. The fact that there's only one Uzziah in the purportedly complete biblical king list, disregarding his common aliases, Azariah, gives this ID singularity based on biblical data. So we have these insignificant iconic stones of these characters who are in the Bible. And where can you find these artifacts? In the Israel Museum in Jerusalem. Let's keep it going. We got Jezebel, right? 1 Kings 16:31. Because most seals were pressed into wet pottery or into small blobs of clay used to secure scrolls, serving much like a signature, symbols and letters were often carved in reverse. When stamped into the clay, the sealed images and inscription would appear correctly. This photo of the Jezebel seal and its impression, or bula, show the seal in reverse and in proper stance. And where do we find this seal of the signature of this character that's found in the Bible? It's in the Israel Museum in Jerusalem. Let's keep going. We got my man Ben-Hadad III, represents from 2 Kings 13:3 and also chapter 13, verse 24. This is the Shabbah. This is the Sabah Stele. It says, I crossed the Euphrates in flood. I commanded my troops to march to Damascus. I, Mari Ben-Hadad III in Damascus. He brought to me 100 talents of gold and 1,000 talents of silver as tribute. So this stele that has the name of a character in the Bible is mentioned and located in the Istanbul Archaeological Museum. Balaam, son of Beor, we find him mentioned in Numbers 22, verse 4. The archaeologists were able to fit together two combinations of running texts, of which the first is better preserved and much easier to interpret than the very fragmentary second. The language of description is discussed below. The first combination tells of a divine seer named Balaam, son of Beor. In other words, the same person known from the biblical text. It opens with the words, the misfortunes of the book of Balaam, son of Beor, divine seer. Again, character mentioned in the Bible. His name is in this artifact, and this artifact is in the Jordan Archaeological Museum. All these things are in museums, guys, right? Joash of Israel, 2 Kings 13, verse 10 and 12. A number of old Babylonian tablets contemporary with Zimri Lim of Mari were found, as well as other objects. The most notable artifact found was the stele of Hadad Narid III, which mentioned an early king of northern Israel as Joash the Samaritan, and contains the first cuneiform mention of Samaria by that name. So we got his likeness, we have his name, and we find this artifact at the Iraq Museum in Baghdad, right? But there's no Bible characters in museums. Oh, no. It's a whole bunch of them. Again, a little bit more modern. Pontius Pilate. Well, we know this guy, Book of John 18:28-40. The Pilate stone is a damaged block of carved limestone with a particularly intact inscription attributed to and mentioning Pontius Pilate, a prefect of the Roman province of Judea from AD 26-36. It was discovered at the archaeological site of Caesarea Maritima in 1961. The artifact is particularly significant because it is an archaeological find of an authentic 1st century Roman inscription mentioning the name Pontius Pilatus. It is contemporary in Pilate's lifetime and accords with what is known of his reported career. In effect, the inscription constitutes the earliest surviving and only contemporary record of Pilate. And we have this guy's name on the stone, and it's located in the Israel Museum. We're going to keep it going. We got Taharka, right? The statue of Taharka, recently discovered in the Sudan. Taharka, king of Cush, is important in Bible study because he is mentioned in 2 Kings 19, verse 9, and Isaiah 37:9 as befriending Hezekiah, king of Judah. The British Museum, it's in the British Museum, displays a beautiful granite statue of Taharka showing the king standing under the protection of the god Amun, known as the recumbent ram. The great granite sculpture dating back to 675 BC was found at Karnak. This granite is typical of the Aswan era. I like bringing up Taharka a lot when I talk to people, when they say, especially when you deal with people from the conscious community, when they like to jump off the bridge and say, none of the people mentioned in the Bible are real. And I love to bring up Taharka because, the people in the conscious community, they're big fans of the pharaohs. So when they say nobody exists, they don't realize that they're also now saying Taharka doesn't exist. So I love bringing up Taharka and then watching them, the cognitive dissonance begins and the cogs start smoking and you know, it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch. So now, a popular request from people who are, you know, not fans of the Bible. You know, you show them these artifacts, right? We showed them steles, and we showed them stones, and we showed names stamped in bricks, and all this amazing stuff. But what they will retort every time is, but show me the bodies. Why can't we find the bodies of these people? And the reason why they say that, because, you know, we found these preserved bodies in Egypt. But when they say this, what I like to clarify is like, so what you're saying is if you don't have the bodies, then that person doesn't really exist. Now, if they agree that that's what they're saying, well, it gets very interesting, because in this article called Undiscovered Tombs by Peter Tyson, he says that the tomb of Akhenaten, for instance, the heretic pharaoh, the father of Tut, who instigated radical changes in Egyptian religion and society, remains a mystery. Some feel the tomb known as KV 55, KV stands for King's Valley, maybe Akhenaten's. Others think his tomb awaits discovery. The crypt of Nefertiti, Akhenaten's wife, and perhaps the most well-known women from the New Kingdom, is missing. My strong feelings that Nefertiti may well be buried somewhere in the Valley of the Kings, says Nicholas Reeves, an Egyptologist at Eton College who searched for her tomb as director of the Amarna Royal Tombs Project from 1998 to 2002. It would be wonderful to find Nefertiti's tomb, because not only is this a person of the greatest historical importance, but it's a period of the most superb art. Another missing tomb is that of Sennacherib, a pharaoh who preceded Tut on the throne and may even be Nefertiti herself. Some scholars believe she adopted the name Semenkhkare when she served as co-regent with Akhenaten. And Nefertiti's tomb were ever found, says Reeves, if there was any text that would enable us Egyptologists to stop squabbling about who is Semenkhkare and who wasn't Semenkhkare. I'm sure we'll all be very, very grateful. Other tombs thought to belong to certain New Kingdom pharaohs may in fact belong to non-royals, leaving those kings' burial chambers also unaccounted for. The crypt of Ramses, I don't know that Roman numeral, I think that's 6, the last pharaoh of the 20th century, is one such tomb in question. So if we're going to say that if you don't have the body, then that person didn't exist, well, then Akhenaten didn't exist, and Nefertiti didn't exist, and Ramses the 6th didn't exist. But none of us would say that, because we know there's enough archaeological material that proves that these people were actually existed, right? But that's why you got to be careful when you make certain claims, because when it's time for you to back them up and you can't, you're not going to look good, right? So again, you can catch me on Facebook /BK Apologist. You can catch me on Twitter /BK Apologist. I'm on the gram /BK_Apologist. Of course, I'm on YouTube right now, so please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. I also sell a bunch of urban apologetic inspired t-shirts. You can catch me in TeePublic /the BK Apologist. Or if you just feel really, really grateful and you really enjoy the stuff that you're seeing, you go just hit my PayPal up /BK Apologist. So yeah, so let me check out these guys, see what you guys are saying here. I can't see you when I'm showing my my slides. All right. Yes, they did. That's right, Michael. Absolutely. Ileana, what's going on? Hey, what's going on, Elizabeth? Representing the Down Under. Definitely appreciate you being here and supporting us. What up, SOC? You gotta tell me what you think of Rise of Skywalker. If you haven't seen it already, I think you finally went to see it. Better late than never. Yeah, I still have one book open. All right, guys. So, you know, he still has one of the copies of the Servant of Christ Ministries amazing commentary, Ex-Judaizer, a commentary in the book of Galatians. So please hit up Mr. Fox. In fact, that's the, yeah, exactly. Let's support our brother in his endeavors. It's important that, you know, we represent and support the community, small that we are. Wow. Okay. I would love to go to it. You see, for me, I'm not a big travel guy, but if I do travel, it's really just go to museums. Like I want to go to the British Museum. I most definitely want to go to the Louvre because, you know, I'm a big Ancient Near East fan, and I know they got tons of stuff over there. You know, so hey, Brother George, what's going on? Yes, it's lunchtime out there. Okay, cool, cool. So what else we got here? Right, exactly. If you can't find the body, then I guess they don't exist, right? That makes no sense, right? Also, the people who claim the Bible is made up need to explain why there are monotheistic believers among the Canaanites. Yeah, I mean, it's just not a stable argument when people say nobody in the Bible never existed. It just doesn't, you know. Wow. I had a conversation with someone a few years ago who didn't trust any history that couldn't be verified by video footage. So I guess you can't trust that George Washington existed, Thomas Jefferson, you know, who then the Statue of Liberty, you know, just showed up. So because we don't have video that, or do we? I'm not sure. Or right, that's just doesn't make any sense. You know, it's like so then we can't trust any of the history books that are written prior to the invention of film. That makes no sense. All right. We're glad you're feeling better, Elizabeth. That's always a good thing. Wow. The Louvre? Yeah, right. I think it's the Louvre, right? I'm not a French guy, so excuse me if I'm butchering it. I think it's the Louvre. All right. What's going on here? All right. Thank you, Mr. Phil Fox. Definitely, yes, yes. It's also on my YouTube page as well. So you can just check it on my YouTube page. So yeah, guys. So yeah, right. People before the movie, right? Exactly. So any questions, comments? You know, now's the time. You know, now's the time. And of course, as always, like, share, and subscribe, guys. Like, share, and subscribe. You know what I mean? In fact, let me put some of the links itself in the chat. Just give me a minute. Hey. As Brother George says here, what about cold case files of people who are suspected of being murdered? According to that logic, they can say they never existed. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you take that type of argument and you walk it to its most logical conclusion, it sounds crazy. It just does, you know. And a lot of times, you know, people live in these bubbles, right? And they have the same talking points. So when they have these questions, the questions are actually rhetorical. They don't expect for you to either answer or challenge those arguments. So when you do, things get really interesting. And that's why it's always important to, you know, not always have people around you that always agree. Because then you exist in a feedback loop. And there's no way for you to really test to see whether or not you believe is actually accurate. You know, there's a bunch of people on my Facebook timeline that I don't agree with, that I'm friends with, you know, because I need those guys to keep me accountable, you know, so that I don't just, you know, I'm with a bunch of people that are just like-minded and no one's ever going to, you know, test to see what I say is true. So you need people in your life that don't see things the way you do, because that keeps you sharp. So that's one to grow on. You know what I mean? That one's free. That one's free. So also, guys, I don't know if you guys are really into TikTok. I know the younger kids are, but I got some stuff on that as well. So, okay, I did it twice. Okay, my bad. So, yeah, guys. So, any questions? We're gonna keep it nice and short today. Thank you, appreciate it. So I think I'm also streaming this on Facebook. I gotta check to see if that's working. So if you guys are on Facebook, please share the Facebook video. You know what I mean? So it was all clear. Cool. BKB dancing on TikTok. No, I got a decent two-step though, Mr. Phil Fox. I have some rhythm, but no, there is no dancing videos on TikTok. You know what I mean? But I have a decent two-step. You know, yeah. I thank my Taino heritage for that. So, oh man, that's funny. But yeah, guys. So you know, share the link, like, share, and subscribe, guys. Like, share, and subscribe. So what's going on, Juliana? So yeah, guys, we're gonna keep it short, man. I just wanted to share that with you. When I saw that meme, I'm like, I want to really crush this meme. You know, the fact that someone took the time to really believe that nothing in the Bible is real and that it's not represented in any museums is completely balderdash, right? An old school phrase. It's not true, you know. And I hope this helped you guys, you know. So when you see this meme, you could be like, hey, that's not true. Here's these other discoveries, or you could just share my video, you know. Yeah, TikTok can be a little humorous. This is true. This is true. Yes, thank you, Mr. Phil Fox, for being here. I want to thank all the party people that's in the chat right now. And I definitely appreciate you guys. So with that being said, man, this is the BK apologist saying peace, catch you on the flip side. 1.